In this video, we're going to work on your practice exam problem number 4. If you'd like to follow along, open the file Data for Business 210 Practice Exam 2.xlsx from My Courses and click on the Problem 4 Data tab. In this problem, we're actually going to be working on the Problem 4 Summary tab most. What we're supposed to do is enter a list box that allows us to choose the product number and then to use the VLOOKUP to choose the selling price, the product category, and the quantity on hand. So just looking ahead, what we're going to need in the VLOOKUP are the column numbers for these three. So going back to the problem 4 data, our product number is going to be our column 1. So A is 1, B is 2. So our product category is column 3. Our selling price is column 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our quantity on hand is column 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now let's go back to our problem summary. First, we need to put in the list box. So to put in the list box, you need the developer tab. If you do not see the developer tab, click File, and then Options. On the left-hand side, click Customize Ribbon. And on the right-hand side, the developer tab should be the only one that is unchecked. So all you have to do is check that developer tab and click OK, and you should now see it on your version of Excel. So I'm going to click in cell A2, although that is not necessary. That activated my analytic solver. We can just close that because we're not going to use it for this problem. I'm going to click in cell A2, although that's not necessary. I'm going to click on the developer tab, and I'm going to click Insert in the Controls group. So I set a list box, so we're going to hover over until we find our list box, which is going to be in the first row, 5th column. So I have my list box and I click it, and it doesn't look like it does anything, but I have my crosshairs when I hover over the worksheet. All I have to do now is draw it out, and don't worry because the position and the size can always be changed later. So let's get it to work. Now the two ways to get it to work are to either click the Properties button right up here in the Control group, or to hover over, right click, it's not being cooperative, hover over, right click, there we go, and choose Format Control. Either one will get you to the exact same spot. So making sure that you're on the Control tab. In the input range, we want them to be able to choose the product name, not the product number. So I'm going to scroll back. I'm going to click on my problem 4 data, and I'm going to start from cell B2. I'm not starting from B1 because I don't want somebody to be able to choose the word product name. So I'm going to choose that list. What's important in this list is that everything in the list appears only once. So you're going to notice that in this list we might have several children or hybrid categories, but there's only one Breeze LE and only one Jetty Breaker. Now I'm going to click in the cell link, and my cell link is going to be cell A2. Now the downside to this list is it's going to show the names, but when you click a name, it's not going to return the name like data validation. It's going to return the number on the list. So we click OK, and we now have all our names in there, but you're a little concerned because it doesn't work. That's okay because it's not going to work while the handles are around it. While the handles are around it, we can edit it, we can move it, we can resize it, but we can't choose any of the items. To get it to work, we have to click away and get the handles away from it. Once the handles are away, we can actually choose one of them, and again notice how it returns the product number and not the product name. Now we're going to move over to our VLOOKUP. So we're going to look up the selling price, the product category, and the quantity on hand. Now each one of these three formulas with the VLOOKUP is going to be the same, because we're going to be looking up the same lookup value, cell A2, so that's going to be an absolute cell reference. We're looking up the same list, so that's going to be an absolute cell reference. The only difference between them is the column number. So once again, our selling price is going to be in column 5, our category column 3, and our quantity on hand column 7. So let's build our VLOOKUP. So I'm going to click in cell B2, and I'm going to click Formulas, Lookup and Reference, and VLOOKUP. By the way, VLOOKUP is about to be replaced by XLOOKUP. So we're going to use our VLOOKUP. So it's going to ask for the lookup value. My lookup value is going to be the product number that contains in cell A2. But once again, when I copy that, I always want it to look up cell A2. So I'm going to hit my F4 key or type my $sign, so that is an absolute cell reference. For my table array, I'm going to click on Problem for Data. I'm going to start on row 2 because I don't want anyone to pick the product number. I want it to start from the first number. So I'm going to do the range A2 down to G25. And once again, I'm going to use my F4 key or the $signs to lock that down, because when I copy that over. So now I'm going to click in column number. When I copy it over, I want to make sure it always looks up the same range. Now, if you remember, my selling price was in column 5. So for my column index number, I just type the number 5. And that certainly does look like a price. And what's very, very important with VLOOKUP is you type the word false in the range lookup to make sure you get an exact match. The way I explain this to my day class is, if I was using VLOOKUP to assign your grades, and I said, let's say over 90 is an A, and over an 80 is a B, you get a 93, Excel gets to the 80s and it says, you know what, that's close enough, I'll assign them a B. 93 is close enough to 80. The false says, no, continue looking at this list. Make sure that you get not a close match, but the exact match. So we're going to click OK, and we've got our price. And notice when I click something in the list, the price will change to reflect the price of the item. Now, because I used those absolute cell references, the only difference is going to be the column number. So I can copy that formula to columns C and D using the fill handle. I can either edit this in the formula bar, or I can double click to edit it in the cell, and instead of being column 5, our product category is column 3. So notice when I click after the 5, column index number becomes bolded, so that's where I am right now. I'm going to do backspace and then just type the number 3 instead of the number 5 and hit enter. And then I'm going to do the same thing for cell D2. The quantity on hand is column 7. So I could even do this up in the formula bar or double click to edit it in the cell. I'm going to click after the number 5, right before the comma, right before false, do backspace, and change that to column 7. And hit enter. And you're going to notice that now, when I click one, I was concerned when it didn't change the category, but it's actually changing the category now, the quantity on hand, and the selling price. If you'd like to move this so that it covers the product number, we would have to hover over, right click, hit escape to get rid of the pop-up menu, then kind of just move it and resize it and pull it down so that you don't need the scroll bar. And once again, to activate it, just click away, and we now may want to change this from product number to product. So now once again, our nice little application works very well.